Hey, look! A fire object is moving toward Earth that could end life on Earth. What can make the Earth uninhabitable? An asteroid? A planet that is out of its orbit and is moving toward Earth? No. This object is much smaller. Much smaller. A needle weighing 5 grams. Now you might say to yourself that it is impossible that a needle could be so dangerous. It's hard to explain, but let me show you how that 5-gram needle can split the Earth with the mass of this large number in half. Stay with Dark Fact. This needle is moving towards the Earth at the speed of light. Can't say exactly what will happen because it's a hypothetical question. You must be asking what happens if a needle travels towards the Earth at the speed of light. Of course, a few other important questions arise. The question arises, for example, what happens to the needle in space? Can a needle travel at the speed of light? The answer to that question is certainly no. Also, this hypothesis sounds silly, it is not so simple. Any object that has mass can never move through space at the speed of light. Every object needs energy to move that fast, and because there's no perceptual energy, we conclude that no object can travel at the speed of light. But here, to answer this question, we want to ignore science and logic to a certain extent. For example, imagine that the needle is moving towards the Earth at 99.9% of the speed of light, something like 299,300 kilometers per second or 1,080,000 kilometers per hour. At this rate, the journey from the Sun to the planet would take about 8 minutes. If you want to compare, we can say that the final speed of the Falcon Heavy SpaceX launcher is only 39,600 kilometers per hour. Can you understand the difference between 39,000 kilometers per hour and 1 billion kilometers per hour? It is interesting to know that the fastest car in the world travels more than 2 million times slower than the speed of light. The largest known meteorite to hit the Earth and remain intact is the Hoba meteorite, weighing about 60 tons. It hit the Earth almost 80,000 years ago and caused a lot of damage. But can a 5-gram needle cause a breakdown like the Hoba meteorite? Of course it can, because everything is connected to the existing energy. A small object traveling at a speed close to the speed of light can be much more dangerous than a larger object with a small speed. Because the energy of that small, high-velocity object is much higher, and that means our fast needle will collide more strongly with the Earth. When that happens and a needle hits the ground at a speed close to the speed of light, there will be a huge explosion, and in the first step all buildings, cars, people and anything near the blast will be pulverized. Exactly like this. A 5-gram needle can do this to Earth and its inhabitant, but man still believes it to be the most powerful creature in all the galaxies. An important question. Could such an explosion destroy the planet? First, let us compare the needle explosion with the largest explosion ever perpetrated by humans. The atomic mushroom of the Russian Tsar's bomb was 64 kilometers high, and the explosion could be seen from a distance of 160 kilometers. The power of the Tsar's bomb was 50 megatons, but the power of the needle blast would be about 43 kilotons. That means the needle explosion will be smaller than the Tsar's bomb blast. However, if you hear on the news that a needle is moving towards the Earth at a speed close to the speed of light, you better get yourself somewhere safe. Now I want to answer the question of whether humans can die from the explosion of this needle. After the needle hits the ground, its blast wave will demolish all buildings within a 4 kilometer radius, and its released energy will increase the temperature of areas within a 4-kilometer radius of the explosion point so much that everything will be destroyed. I repeat, everything. What will happen if this needle hits the middle of the ocean? Like an asteroid impact, the collision of our 5-gram needle in the ocean will trigger a huge tsunami, but it will probably not hurt anyone or cause severe damage. To give an example, if the needle hits near the city of Manhattan, the whole city will go underwater. Now is the time to look at this from another angle. When a needle is moving towards the Earth at this speed so it can enter the atmosphere, it will no longer remain solid, and you can say there will be a few atoms moving side by side. In this case, it is possible for this needle to pass through the tissue of the Earth and continue its journey through space. This happens so quickly that no one will know about it. That is, it is possible that small objects have passed through the middle of the Earth many times before and we didn't know it, but the possibility of this phenomenon is close to zero. Now, what happens if this needle hits a human after entering the Earth's atmosphere? The probability of something like a needle hitting a human in this way is 1 in 1,600,000. That is, the percentage of probability is very low, but since I am the unlucky one, and I think that this needle will come directly to me from the estimated 8 billion people on Earth, I want to answer this question as well so that the point is not ambiguous. If this needle hits me and my body absorbs all the energy of this needle, my body will turn into something like fluid. But there's another possibility. If, according to the theory of atomization of the needle we mentioned a little earlier, this needle loses its solid state, it can pass through my body without me feeling pain. I just might think it was stung by a mosquito. Needle marks will fall on my body, of course, something like a tiny hole. In that case, if the needle doesn't hit important organs of my body, it won't cause me death. Oh, I hope that's the case. So we realize that if a needle hit the ground at a speed close to the speed of light, it wouldn't cause much failure, but what would happen if an object much larger than the needle hit the ground? Join us next to see a comet called Hoba, which is likely to hit Earth in the next few years, splitting the Earth in half. If you enjoyed the video so far, please support the video with your likes and comments because we need your support. Also subscribe to our channel to see more hot videos. In 2013, a large meteorite from the Russian sky entered the Earth's atmosphere, which fortunately, a large part of it filled up before hitting the Earth, but again, a few pieces of this meteor collided with the Earth's end. This is the largest chunk of the same meteorite to hit Russian soil. This piece weighs about a torso. The meteor exploded at an altitude of 23.5 km above the ground, and its small fragments damaged more than 6,000 buildings and injured more than 1,500 people. The speed of this meteorite was about 59,500 km per hour. Wait, it's not over yet. Imagine what would happen if this meteor hit Earth at 99.5% of the speed of light. Also, if an object travels at a speed close to light, it will carry a huge amount of energy along with it. Such a meteorite collision with Earth would be a disaster. A continent which quickly turned to ash, and the resulting wave which destroyed the entire world and life on it. If that ever happens, only those will survive who have made it themselves to shelters that exist deep within the earth where, of course, these people will see no sign of life on Earth when they return to the surface of the Earth again. The collision of a light-speed meteorite into the Earth is much worse than the meteor that made the dinosaurs extinct, even if the volume of this meteorite is a tenth of that of the meteorite that caused the demise of the dinosaurs. Interesting to know that there's a comet in the solar system that, If it collides with the Earth, could split the Earth into two halves. The comet is called Halley's Comet and weighs about 220 billion tons. You might be interested to know that you can see this comet every 75 years without a telescope. The last time Halley was seen without a telescope was in 1986, and the next time you can see it will be in middle 2061. Now let's take another guess. What would happen if Halley's comet hit Earth at the speed of light? In this case, the shape of the Earth will change overall. The path this collision will create will be the size of the two continents of Asia and Europe, and the planet will never be the same. I would love to live until 2061 so I can see this comet without a telescope. If by then, of course, no needles are moving towards me from the side of space.